I'm standing here in front of one of the most famous tourist attractions in Japan, in one of the most, or perhaps the most famous castle city in Japan, and this is all that remains of the castle, the foundations, because in the Meiji period, in 1868, the new democratic, or no, not democratic, sort of westernized imperial government decreed that all feudal castles should be razed to the ground. So the people from Yamaguchi, who were one of the most powerful feudal clans, removed their castle. I don't know if they burnt it or just took it down. This is all that remains of it. But nevertheless, despite the fact that very little remains, it's a very popular tourist attraction. And from our kids' point of view, the most exciting thing is that there's a lot of fish and turtles in the moat, and you can buy here, and you can buy 50 yen, about 70 cents, for a packet of carp and turtle feed, and that's what Ray's doing now, is scattering it to the turtles. So, from a naive point of view, the most exciting thing is the thing that you can look at down here in the moat. But from a sort of a Japanese connoisseur's point of view, the most exciting thing is the ruin. And there's a very, very long tradition of Japanese people going to see ruins. For example, the famous haiku poet Matsuo Basho travelled all over Japan, right up to the top of the main island of Honshu, to a grassy field where he wrote a poem about the fact that once upon a time there used to be a powerful clan that lived there, and that the grass represents the ruins of the dreams of the soldiers that used to live there. And so Japanese people, but even before that, in the older travelogues, you see that Japanese people go to visit shrines. And shrines are, in a sense, ruins. But shrines contain the relic, the ruin, all that remains of when a god in the mythic period visited the place. So that going to a shrine visiting is, in a sense, like visiting this castle. It's visiting a place that was great once, because someone great once was there. And this is also similar to, I believe, walkabout in Australia, that Aboriginal Australians will go on walkabout, a form of tourism perhaps, where they go and visit the places, the sacred places which were visited by the gods in mythic times. And at these places they receive a stamp. Aboriginals receive something like a churinga, or they view the sacred stones, I believe. Whereas, generally speaking, in these kind of places, as well as you having to pay to go in, you get the opportunity to stamp a piece of paper with the symbol of the ruin that you're visiting. And this is treasured, these stamps. Sometimes people get others to go and get the stamps for them. Some claim, as I've recounted recently, that they originate in the Edo period government obliged stamps for pilgrims going on the Shikoku, which is the name of an island pilgrimage of 88 sites. But I claim, no, it's much older than that, that essentially Shinto is a religion of stamp rallying. That Shinto shrines give you a sort of a piece of card, or a little cushion in which there is a piece of card which contains a stamp. And these things are considered to be sacred and vectors of the god that's inside them. And also they are things that transform people, that they're sort of a representation of the person as well as the god. And so by receiving one, you receive spirit from the god, and you are sort of in some way transformed by it. And I think that you can see this, well, Shinto has become rather unpopular. You can see a continuation of this belief in Japanese superhero television programs, where people are always transforming by receiving symbols. So the Japanese go around their sacred countryside receiving symbols and feeling in some way transformed by it. But at the moment Ray likes feeding the fish. Yeah, I find the empty tourism sites quite moving. I have a new theory about it, that when, I'm going to write about this at length soon, but when Westerners go on holiday, it's claimed by leisure theorists like, I forget his name, begins with an N, that the best thing to have is a lot of choices, freedom. So you go to some, and Uri says that you go to places which you can watch. So ideally you go to somewhere like a beach or maybe a place of great natural beauty, and there you're presented with a lot of choices. For instance, there's a cocktail bar on the beach, so then you can say, bring me a fuzzy navel. And what is going on? Well, for me what is going on is, I'll video myself now when I'm speaking about one of my theories. What is going on is that, hold on, the Westerners are going to these places of great natural beauty and choosing their cocktails. And in one sense, they're very constrained that that what they're to look at, their mind's eye, as it were, is constrained by the beauty of the place that they're watching. In other words, they don't imagine anything, just that they look at the sea and the setting sun, and that part of their brain is provided for by the environment. Whereas while they're looking at the sea and the setting sun, their mind is saying, hey, bring me a daiquiri. But their linguistic mind is afforded a great deal of freedom. And now this is the complete opposite of what Japanese prefer to do. When they go to tourist sites, they want everything to be decided for them, except what they see in their mind's eye. Yeah? So they go to these, for instance, the best Japanese food places that sells kaiseki food. The whole menu is set, an expert will tell you what to eat, what order to eat, how to eat it, and choose all the food for you. So you won't have all these linguistic choices to make. But then you'll visit sites like this where there's nothing to see. But what do you do at sites like this when there's nothing to see? You omoe o hasiru. You think about what it was like before. And so while it provides a stage in a sense for your imaginings, there isn't a lot to see, but there's an awful lot to imagine. So people go to places like this, and Ganryu Island, where a famous duel took place, or to the top of the island of Honshu at the end of Oku no Hosomichi, which is where Basho went, and just a meadow. People go to places like this, which are a stage for free and various and spectacular imaginings that the Japanese like to do. So far from being constrained in their holidaying, the Japanese are in fact exercising their mind at a different part of it, the visual part, as opposed to the linguistic bit that can, like me, complicate or order cocktails.